The financial scandal that helped trigger the Great Depression. What if I told you the Great Depression wasn't just an accident? What if behind the stock market crash of 1929, there was a financial scandal so big, it shook the very foundation of Wall Street? This is the story of the reckless greed, corruption, and outright fraud that helped sink the global economy into chaos. The Roaring Twenties. The 1920s were a time of economic boom. The stock market was soaring, and everyone wanted in. Banks were handing out loans to everyday Americans, encouraging them to invest in stocks. People were making fortunes overnight. But behind the scenes, some of Wall Street's biggest names were playing a dangerous game. The scheme, insider trading and market manipulation. One of the biggest scandals involved a group known as the pool operators. These were powerful investors who secretly worked together to manipulate stock prices. They would pick a company, buy up massive amounts of shares, and create the illusion that the stock was skyrocketing. The public, seeing the price rise, would rush in to buy, pushing the price even higher. Then at the peak, the pool operators would sell everything, making millions, while the average investor was left with worthless stocks. One of the most infamous names linked to these schemes was Richard Whitney, a Wall Street banker who later became the president of the New York Stock Exchange. Whitney and his associates used their influence to keep these operations running, all while promising that the market was stable. The house of cards collapses. There was one major problem. Most of this stock buying was happening on credit. Banks had loaned billions to investors who had no way to pay it back if stocks fell. When the market began showing signs of weakness in late 1929, the panic set in. The pool operators, who had already made their money, abandoned ship, selling off their shares before the inevitable crash. On October 24, 1929, now known as Black Thursday, stock prices plunged. Investors desperately tried to sell, but there were no buyers. The market crashed again the following week on Black Tuesday. Trillions in today's dollars were wiped out in a matter of days. Banks failed, businesses collapsed, and millions of people lost their jobs. The fallout and justice. The scandal was exposed, but justice was slow. Richard Whitney was eventually arrested for fraud years later, but by then, the damage was done. The government stepped in with new regulations, creating the Securities and Exchange Commission to prevent another disaster. But the lives ruined by this scandal were never fully repaired. Closing thought. The Great Depression wasn't just a tragic accident. It was fueled by unchecked greed, corruption, and a financial system that put profit over people. And if history has taught us anything, it's that these kinds of scandals never truly disappear. They just evolve. Subscribe for more untold stories of history's biggest scandals and dirtiest secrets.